The area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. The area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. Osiowamo, 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 Osiowamo. Eormisosis, 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 Eormisosis. Should, could, would, 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 should, could, would. Circa 1000 BC to AD 1453, North American mound-building civilizations were the Adena, the Hopewell, and the Mississippians. Circa 1000 BC to AD 1453, North American mound-building civilizations were the Adena, the Hopewell, and the Mississippians.
This is CC Cycle 1, Week 18. Happy Valentine's Day. Our history sentence for this week is tell me about the mound builders. So we're going to start off with circa 1000 BC to AD 1450. I'm just signing 14 here. It's a flicker 4 twice. 3, here's our ASL 3, North American mound building civilizations were the Adena, here's your A sign, the Hopewell, your H sign, and the Mississippians. That's your M sign. So let's start from the beginning again. Tell me about the mound builders. Circa 1000 BC to AD 1450, 3 North American mound building civilizations were the Adena, the Hopewell, and the Mississippians. Good luck.
What are 4 types of ocean floor? Continental shelf, abyssal plain, mid-ocean ridge, trench. Continental shelf, abyssal plain, mid-ocean ridge, trench. 4 types: continental shelf, abyssal plain, mid-ocean ridge, trench. Continental shelf, abyssal plain, mid-ocean ridge, trench. Yeah!
This week we will be learning about the Mesoamerica regions. So the first one is the Gulf of Mexico, which is right here. And then we're going to be studying what's in this dotted square here. So we're going to come down and we're going to focus in this region. So we're going to go to the Yucatan Peninsula, which is right here. This is the Yucatan Peninsula. The Olmec civilization was right here, okay? Then the Maya civilization was over here on the Yucatan Peninsula, and the Aztec civilization was over here by Mexico City. Now I ask and you point, where is the Aztec civilization? Where is the Maya civilization? Where is the Olmec civilization? Where is the Yucatan Peninsula? And where is the Gulf of Mexico? And now I point and you tell me.
Genghis Khan rules the Mongols, England's Magna Carta, Ottoman Empire, Marco Polo's journey to China, 100 Years' War, and Black Death, the Renaissance, China's Ming Dynasty. Yes. Timeline, timeline, this is my timeline. Age of exploration, circa 1400 to circa 1800. Prince Henry founds the School of Navigation, slave trade in Africa. Gutenberg's printing press, Songhai in Africa. Tsar Ivan the Great of Russia, the the Spanish Inquisition. Columbus sails to the Caribbean. 1500 AD, 1500 AD, age of absolute monarchs, circa 1500 to circa 1800. Protestant Reformation, Spanish conquistadors in the Americas, Calvin's Institute of the Christian Religion, Council of Trent, Baroque period of the arts, Japan's isolation, Jamestown and Plymouth colony founded, age of enlightenment, circa 1650 to circa 1800. Hudson Bay Company, first great awakening, classical period of the arts, the 7 Years' War. Phew! Timeline, timeline, this is my timeline. Age of industry, circa 1760 to circa 1969. James Cook sails to Australia and Antarctica. American Revolution and General George Washington. Madison's Constitution and the Bill of Rights. French Revolution. The Second Great Awakening. Louisiana Purchase and Lewis and Clark Expedition. Napoleon crowned Emperor of France. Liberation of South America. The War of 1812. The Missouri Compromise. Immigrants flock to America, the Monroe Doctrine, romantic period of the arts. Cherokee Trail of Tears, U.S. westward expansion. Marx publishes the Communist Manifesto, the Compromise of 1850, and the Dred Scott Decision. U.S. restores trade with Japan. British Queen Victoria's rule over India. Darwin publishes The Origin of Species.
The CC Week 18 timeline starts off with Cherokee Trail of Tears. So the Cherokees were Native Americans, so we're going to do that same sign like we did earlier on in the timeline, where we're going to take our index and thumb and come like from our nose to our lips, like kind of like the ring, and then up like they're painting. So Cherokee Trail of Tears, and then you're going to have 4 fingers come down like you're crying. So Cherokee Trail of Tears. Then U.S. westward expansion, make that super easy. You're going to do a W and you're just going to come across your body left to right. U.S. westward expansion, Marx publishes the Communist Manifesto. So the sign for communism was just putting your fist forward. So Marx publishes the Communist Manifesto, like you're writing it because he wrote it. Then you have the Compromise of 1850 and the Dred Scott Decision. So just like Missouri Compromise, we're going to touch our head and come together like we're compromising. The Compromise of 1850 and the Dred Scott Decision. So if you remember earlier in history, for this cycle 3, we talked about how Dred Scott was a slave and he left the South to the North. And he went to court to see if he could be free because he lived in the North now, but they said, no, because you're from the South, you're still a slave. So he remained a slave, the Dred Scott Decision, and so you would just show he's a slave. The Compromise of 1850 and the Dred Scott Decision. U.S. restores trade with Japan. So kind of like we did the immigrants last week, we're showing unity here. So the U.S. restores trade with Japan. Here we show the island. British Queen Victoria's rule over India. So British were known for or England, known for that handshake again. So British British Queen Victoria's, you're gonna show a V for her, rule. So for this one, it's like you're taking the reins of a horse. So she's ruling, rule over India. There's your bindi. So we'll do that again. British Queen Victoria's rule over India. And then you have Darwin publishes The Origin of Species. So you're gonna make a D sign for in ASL. So Darwin publishes, like you're writing it, The Origin of Species. We're gonna do the sign like we did the beginning of the ages, how we went between the index and middle finger and started like a car. That means origin. So we've got Darwin publishes The Origin of Species. So let's do that from the beginning. Cherokee Trail of Tears, U.S. westward expansion, Marx publishes the Communist Manifesto, the Compromise of 1850 and the Dred Scott Decision, U.S. restores trade with Japan, British Queen Victoria's rule over India, and Darwin publishes The Origin of Species. Good luck!
Oh, I just love being rocked and cuddled and singing the timeline and learning all this history. Who's that guy? Ah!
Experiment is called push-up, and the purpose is to demonstrate the strength of atmospheric pressure. So for this experiment, you'll need a bowl that's big enough to fit a glass inside of it. Here's a glass that I chose, and then my bowl is filled with 3/4 full with tap water. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the glass and I'm gonna submerge it into the bowl on its side so that the glass is completely full of water. And then I'm going to turn the glass so that the mouth is down, and then I'm going to slowly bring it out of the water but stop when it's an inch away. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's water still inside the cup all the way to the bottom of the glass. And to verify that, once I pull the glass out, you can see the water come down, so watch. See? Okay, so why does this happen? The air pushing down on the surface of the water outside the glass extends upward hundreds of miles. The pressure of this air is called atmospheric pressure. This pressure is great enough to support the weight of the water inside the glass. So that's why the water level inside the glass remains higher than the water level in the bowl. So try it on your own. The experiment is called updraft, and it's to determine the effect that temperature has on air movement. So the first thing we're gonna do is grab a piece of tissue paper and make a spiral on it. So it's about 1 inch wide. See how I started there? I have it in pencil. I've gone all the way to here, and now I'm gonna cut it out. Okay, so now I cut out my spiral, which unfortunately didn't spiral as well as I had hoped, but it is what it is. Then I grabbed a 6-inch long piece of yarn and I taped it to the top of the spiral. And then you could do this with a desk lamp. I actually just used a candle here that I've lit. And what you're gonna do is put the spiral just above the light, and as you can see, oops, I burned it a little bit. Yeah, probably not a good idea to do a candle at school. As you can see, the tissue paper is starting to twirl. And the reason is because of currents. So you've got the hot air coming up and then the cool air rushing in, and that's turning your tissue paper. So I could probably see I'm starting to get a really good twirl right now. But I have to be careful that I don't light this tissue paper on fire. Anyway, that is updraft.
Menikos Theotokopoulos, born in 1541, was known as El Greco, which means the Greek. He was born on the Greek island of Crete, but settled in Spain, where he became a talented sculptor, painter, and architect. He then moved to Venice, Italy to study art and became popular painting religious scenes for a cathedral. He was known for showing feelings in his paintings by using cool blue colors. Also, he created solemn figures by stretching them out and making them thinner than people in real life.